Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Daniel Harms with the RGR Football channel here to tell you guys all about one of the Chiefs draft picks, George Karloftis, first round defensive end at pick 30 for Kansas City. Before we get into it today, if you're new to the channel, hit that like, hit the sub, and the bell notification. Helps you, helps us, just everybody gets better because of those three things. So I know if you were joining me with the draft show that you know exactly how dejected I was with the George Karloftis pick. I let my own personal emotions get ahead of me and I made no bones about the pick. So, just to rewind a little bit, when you strip back everything and you take your own personal feelings out of the situation, we understand why the Chiefs took George Karloftis. Very, very high floor player that's going to come in and be a starter immediately for them and fits exactly what Steve Spagnuolo wants to do outside of the longer arms, which is one of the things that I was a little interested about. Actually has shorter arms than Aiden Hutchinson, who went higher in this draft. But it's all about how you use them, really. The Chiefs were not willing to sacrifice that at tackle, and it looks like they're willing to sacrifice that at defensive end. So we'll see how it works out for George. If he can get his hand usage a little bit better than it was in college at Purdue. Again, producing in a defense like that when you're getting double teamed and triple teamed at times in a defense where you're the only guy that anybody has to pay attention to is difficult to do. So we try to take away from the numbers and really look at what the film tells us. And it's hard to miss George Karloftis. He's a guy who plays all over the place. He will always work, just finds ways to eventually get free, which are things that you can't always say about every Chiefs defensive end over the last couple of years. So let's go ahead and get into his tape because number 5, George Karloftis, defensive end for Purdue. If you guys can't see, he's right here. One of the things that you really see about his tape when you put it on the highlight plays people really show. They always show the highlight plays, and it feels like these are the biggest highlight plays, and he's usually unblocked. It comes at a cost. You get these unblocked highlight plays in the backfield because you're usually not the guy that you're keyed in on that play. So usually whenever I looked at some of his highlight tapes before I started actually watching his film, this is one of those things that popped up a lot, and I was like, why are you guys showing plays of him not being blocked? And I don't get it. I guess there's some good acceleration. He accelerates through the tackle, and the big hits are always nice to see. But I'm more interested in what happens when he's actually blocked. What does he do when he's blocked? I don't care about the highlight play. So I just want to kind of show you a little bit of the acceleration of his that he has. He does have some pop, as you can see. When he hits you right in the chest like that, you will go over, you will go down. He definitely makes that happen. And they move him around on this defensive line a lot. Sorry, my allergies are all over the place. So he's currently still playing as a defensive end in this C gap between the tackle and this extra offensive lineman. Minnesota's got a huge front out here. Looks like another tight end. And almost 3 tackles on the field. So they wanted to run the ball. But this is the initial win and then fight with 3 guys. Like he's basically being targeted by the entire Minnesota right side of the offensive line. So he's being blocked here by 70. Again, initial win right there. Boom. Square up and swim. This is pretty much his favorite move is the square up and swim. You can see 70 has no idea what's going on. He was that quick around the side there. Definitely more of a quick step kind of player with his outside leg, and then he gets onto 88 right here, and that's where he's going to start working. You find the quickness, and then you got to start working. Work. He's getting blocked in the back. He's getting blocked here, but you see he's pushing this tight end into the backfield, and they have the running back trying to help too. Like everybody is trying to help against George Karloftis getting to their quarterback, and he nearly does. Unfortunately, Tanner Morgan was able to unwind and uncork a deep throw, but again, the big thing about Karloftis that we've heard is the effort, relentless effort. He does that here. First with the initial win. Very important to his success because if you don't have that initial quickness, then you can't continue to work through the rest of the reps. So very, very fun to see that from his something I didn't see a whole lot of in the initial watch through, but I got some more games and I did see some more quickness with his hands, specifically coming over with that swim. So that was very nice to see on his part. So again, he's pretty much lined up on the left side of the defensive line and the right side of the offensive line the majority of his time that I saw. But again, collapse the pocket. What one thing do we know he was brought into Kansas City to do? It's to collapse pockets and be a doom bringer. Again, a good hesitation to the outside, inside. Just jams those hands right inside with the momentum he created with a little bit of shimmy at the snap. He's able to just jam him inside and boom, extension, and he keeps going. He's driving his legs into the back pocket. Boom, tackle. Sack for loss on the play. So these are all the things that we kind of knew about George Karloftis, but the little bit of speed to power he possesses, it's more of in the shoulders right there. It's not so much in the hips and in the feet, but he did a good job of driving his feet through the contact and making sure that he was going to deliver this tackle into the lap of the quarterback, and it happened very, very quickly. So the things that he was brought into Kansas City to do, most namely being collapsing that pocket, what Spags wants to do at defensive end. He's going to bring that in spades. So again, he's going to be a pretty decent run defender at first, and you can see here, it doesn't show on the play, but he actually makes this tackle for loss happen or no gain. What he does, again, square up the man you got. So you have him blocking, 77's getting on 36, and 4 just wants to kind of like come up here and get into open field pretty quickly. So what does he do? Oh, no, you're not going there, because I will disengage and I'll get you. So what happens here is that he flashes to the inside, running back sees him, and he's like, okay, I have to go around. So 10 can fill and now cause a tackle for short gain. So there's little tiny simple micro movements in the way that he plays that you have to be able to dissect how he's able to move this way, what he's doing in the run game, and being able to identify where the ball carrier is if he can find it, and then how he can make that running back adjust his flight path. This is one of the bigger problems that I have with his game. It's the constant running upfield. We saw this a lot with Frank Clark. He's gonna run to the outside here, but there's like no plan what he's gonna do. He just gets run out there. And then look how far away he is from not only the quarterback, but from everybody else. It doesn't happen to this extreme a lot, but he gets run upfield on a number of plays, and I just wonder where the plan is here to eventually come back around and hit a quarterback. But you have to be ever working your hands. You have to be ever developing a pass rush plan. And one of the things that does show up on his tape is basically the inability to adjust what he's doing. If he's going outside, he's going to keep going outside until he finds something that happens, and sometimes that's more to his detriment, and sometimes you get help from the quarterback in that case where they come up to the pocket and you can disengage because the tackles don't know it's coming, so you have a better ability to do so. So that was one of my biggest problems. And then I've noticed a couple times, again, not to this extreme, but I want to show you the extremes so you have an idea of what it looks like. His awareness is a little sketchy. So first of all, he's coming down the line, which is good hard come down the line when you're not being blocked. But number 88 is coming. He's gonna block you. He's trapping. He's essentially a sniffer, and he didn't have a clue it was coming. He didn't see it. He did not have any iota of where number 88 was coming. So they're just gonna pull him across. He's too busy looking for the football. Like, I don't have any issues with that, but for me, the peripheral vision is where I start to see it in his game, because not only does his eyes lie to him quite a bit, he can't find the ball all the time, and he does struggle to pick that up at times and find it with a quarterback and a running back option. He does tend to run with the quarterback and not the running back at times if they hand it off and the ball changes direction a little quickly. It takes him a second to really find it, and it shows up in plays like this where he's not aware of his surroundings as much. So something else to work on. Again, this isn't a perfect product. He's not coming in as a guy who has to be the number one defensive end on this team immediately. It would be awesome if he was, and I mean, the mantle is there for him to take. So please do, George, improve, be the best you can be in training camp, and be the best you can be right now. But the things that we were talking about that he needs improvement on are right here. This is flash in the pan. He does not show this type of outside inside counter technique almost ever. And it's actually really, really good. He wins on the outside with that speed, that first step and the swim, boom, right there. He wins. He is in a winning position. But notice that he sees the quarterback is not dropping back very far. He finally sees it. He's able to identify it at that time, sees the ball, and then takes the tackle and says, "You're going to keep going upfield, and I'm going to go get the quarterback." So he has some in his toolbox of being able to diversify his pass rush plan and be able to adjust, go outside, have a little bit of inside. And one thing that you see with these defensive ends that want to get outside is that look how this tackle is set already. He's like, I know you're going to go outside. I'm going to give myself an easier plan, an easier flight path, flight path to do that. But we have a little two-hand jam here, and then he wins. He even though the tackle knows that he's coming outside, he still wins. But a little bit of push-pull there, that's one big thing I want to see from his game next year. Add a push-pull. You got the strength to get your hands in there and inside the tackle's chest, push him, and then pull him and dispose of him. That's going to help him get to quarterbacks quickly as well. And when you have the ability to have that swim move, that's very, very good. He kind of halved it there because he realized halfway through his move that he wanted to do something differently, which is perfect. Always adjusting your plan, and your rush plan is how you're going to win in the NFL. You see, okay, I'm going to the outside. I want to adjust it now. I've got a huge gap to the inside. The quarterback's not dropping back. I'm going to take that adjustment, and I'm going to go. You want to see him do that, and he did a good job right there. Is more expanding that into the rest of his game. Now we have him lined up on the inside this time. Another area that I think Spags is going to want to address on pass rush downs early to help him early on in his career. But you notice that he had a little spin move there. It's not the best. It's a little slow at times, and it can fall right into an awaiting offensive lineman. But again, a good job of as soon as he hits that guard, he starts to spin. It's really, really perfectly done. Excuse me. And he accelerates through and around as the quarterback's trying to come up and in. Just needs to finish that play. Just needs to finish that play. And that's a sack. Like, that's how that kind of thing goes. And when you're able to have that kind of success against interior players, he might find next to Chris Jones on pass rushing downs being where he slots in very early on and being quite successful. Because, again, when you have it, you can do it and you can execute it like really good. Uses his inside shoulder to jam and then spins off of it. Like, it's really done really well. Just got to close on those tackles. That's where the arm length does kind of come into play a little bit. And the very last play is the reason that Steve Spagnuolo saw him and said, yeah, this is the defensive end that I want, is because of the torque. And he does have some speed to power, but he really transitions it well when he's able to. It's just my goodness. Like, this is one of those real plays that he has that you can just see his raw strength and upper body torque. And what I mean by upper body torque is different than a bend per se, is you see how he extends here. He turns his entire upper body with his arms this way. His hips are going to pretty much stay this way, but he's going to drive through with his legs. And he's going to turn everything to the inside. And with one swift motion, like we call it, when you torque your body one way or the other, that's what he does right here. Right there. All upper body. Essentially, it's all upper body. And he just turns that tackle. I would like to see him disengage a little quicker, but that's going to come more with his more game study and more, understanding the position a little bit better in the NFL. Because right here, after you torque, you need to disengage. Slap, rip, get yourself through there because you're going to be able to close on the quarterback in some other situation. So figure out how to get off this tackle right here, but the torque and the strength are just, it's so evident. It's so clear. He's just able to extend, even with shorter arms, to really get these tackles off of him and display his power on a routine basis. That it's very, very impressive. So at the end of the day, I do think that George Karloftis is going to be a first and second down starter at the end, and they might move him early on into that interior pass rush role to help him out and to help the interior pass rush, because there isn't much. And let's be honest, if you had to choose between Tershawn Wharton maybe kicking outside and getting a little more speed and bend on the edge, and George Karloftis kicking inside and being productive next to Chris Jones on third downs, I'm pretty happy with that myself. So all in all, he's a good player. He is a good player. And when you're drafted in the first round, and I think that you see some of the things on tape that he has that haven't translated as well, with the bend and the ankle flexion, things that he doesn't have to his disposal at all. It is something that I take into account. So I just firstly wanted to apologize to everybody that saw how I reacted, because that was not professional, and I will work to be better. But also that when I'm reviewing and actually taking a much deeper dive and glance into these players, I really do try to be as unbiased as possible to give you the best outcome and outlook that they could have for a rookie. So George Karloftis is going to be a starter. He's going to be probably not a hugely impactful player immediately, because as much as they can do in the run game, you're really hoping that you set up plays for your linebackers and your secondary members. And that's what you guys saw him actually do that for one of his secondary guys that came in and filled. He was able to push that running back outside. You want to do that for your linebackers, and the defensive ends and defensive tackles' job is to get these holes plugged up and taken up perfectly to allow free flow for the linebacker. So if he can do that and get a couple sacks here and there, maybe rush next to Chris Jones, even being on the outside and learning more of how to use his hands properly and use that torque, disengage a little bit quickly from those, and use that first step acceleration that he has, and be a productive, more productive than a Mike Dana pass rusher, I think he's going to be just fine. And we're hoping that we see that ceiling come into play a little bit, get to more of that. If you really get into the NFL and bloom as a player, perfect. That's exactly what they want to do. They're not going to focus so much on developing everything out. They're going to try and take what he does well and maximize it. So don't try to think that he's going to come in and get just suddenly better at like bending or trying to get around that corner. Those are things that he doesn't do, and they're probably not going to be in his game. So hand usage, strength, disengaging, and use that first step acceleration to his advantage, and he'll be just fine. So I hope you guys enjoyed the film, because I think that there was a lot of good stuff in there. There were some things that I said that he does need to work on, that I think that he can work on himself and get better. So it was a lot of fun to go through it. And even though I'm less than enthused about the idea of another defensive end that doesn't have bend or real true speed off the edge, I'm doing my best here to showcase what he can do and what he can do in this specific defense. And the way that Steve Spagnuolo caters the defense, he can be productive. Got to get to the quarterback faster than they did last year, and I think George can help provide a little bit of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tomorrow, Chief in the North with Ryan and Seth once again. Friday, Rogue Head. If I could speak today, that'd be awesome. Rogue Head Huddle with Stevie and Gooch. Everything that we have on this channel is available to you guys. If you want to be part of the members and get everything that's behind the scenes in the Discord, please do that. Reach out to Ryan and his email address. If you guys, I always forget his email, so make sure to tune into those Monday night live streams too. He flashes it all the time. I will be here every single week, the rest forever. I don't know how long, but forever. All you guys want to do, please, if you're new, hit that like and the bell and the sub notification. We will be seeing you guys soon. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.